Welcome to Rauta. This video is done in commercial collaboration with our sponsor, Steelfest. Welcome to Rauta's non-metal reviews. This time it's not gonna be one of those praising ones, but rather negative approach. I'm gonna just state it outright here so you can stop wasting your time and move on in case you're not for negativity. Now, every now and then pops up an album that is already giving me red flags for various reasons. Sometimes it's the album name, sometimes it's however the packaging is looking, or whatever the band name, artist name is saying. This is one of those cases. I mean, half northern, south and north, it's almost like giving me like, what is this hipster name? Then I was checking out, okay, maybe there's some basic information for Metal Archive for me to grab while I'm listening to the music. Well, it isn't metal, so it's not obviously on Metal Archives. However, the band kind of points out it's some kind of a doomy approach at various sites. And I'm like, really can't find anything doomy on this particular album called Narrations of a Fallen Soul. Um, then I was listening to this album and I was like, okay, I can find the information later on. Doesn't matter. Let's just not judge the book by the cover or a person by name. Let's just let the music do the talking and hope it's good. And unfortunately, this is one of the most annoying ones I've heard for a long, long time. Now, to sum up the genres before you move on and figure out better things to do with your life, I would say, yes, there's a lot of indie pop. Yes, there's a lot of experimental music. Yes, it's in kind of a artsy fartsy, having those smell coming from miles away. And yes, they're part of chassis parts. And a horrible, horrible, horrible Bathory cover. That almost gave me a headache and wanted to cross the city until I noticed the city is in Finland, not here with me in Spain. So let's do this one without more time. So what is this Narrations of a Fallen Soul all about? Well, it's all those aforementioned genre things plus some folkier parts. It's almost like a kind of an artsy project you're doing for, I don't know, whatever art projects are for to begin with, like showcase your experimentations and your artistic skills or lack thereof, and then just, getting on with it. Now, this one is very, very much driven with the female vocals presented here, and I gotta say it nicely. Unless you have an acquired taste for the given female vocals, you're not gonna like this. First of all, they sound kind of a clumsy. They sound very sharp, as even like 90-degree turns. So kind of a clumsy in that sense, sharp turns and all that stuff, and also with a strong Greek accent. And when there are these Greek vocal parts, I was like, this is some kind of a Game of Thrones like art project because some of those parts feel like Game of Thrones characters speaking with some of those Game of Thrones Westeros language or whatever, and it's not gonna be English. I mean, there's nothing wrong with Greek language, but when I was listening to the album, I really couldn't get away from that thought that this is like some fantasy project thing happening. Nothing wrong with that, mind you. It's just kind of a weird association in my head. Now, on the top of that, I'm not gonna say the female vocals are horrible, but they are not like beautiful and nice. They are original. They are unique. And unless you're ready for some acquired taste shit, stay away from this album. And unfortunately, those female vocals really, really lead the game here because they are not nice to listen to. I think I would have actually enjoyed the album if it was purely instrumental. Then it would be something like a background music, which wouldn't actually get on my nerves, but just, flow there, much like some kind of a soundtrack ambience and all that stuff. Now, there are parts where guitar comes into play, some drums and folkier instruments. So in that sense, it's more like some kind of a artsy indie pop meeting jazzy parts and some folkier elements, some kind of a soundtrack thing, except with the vocals, which kind of annoy me. And if that wouldn't be enough, I mean, that could be somewhat tolerable, not exactly likable, then the whole thing is shitting upon, Bathory's fine song here. Luckily, it only takes 4 minutes out of this more than 1 hour. But this song To Hold Up High, which is a beautiful and strong song by Bathory, it's turned into a pure abomination. First of all, it's kind of an industrial version, when you think about the instruments and all that stuff. And then it's like the vocals are done in such a way that it's going to give any kind of a listener brain cancer or high risk of getting that. It's one of the most horrible cover songs of all time I've heard. It's almost like flinging the middle finger to you and it's like, ha ha, joke's on you. It's your fault that you listened all the way here. So I was giving this album 3 full listens and figuring out if there are parts which I could actually like. And no, I didn't actually like single part of this album. Now, mind you, this isn't like it's 1 out of 10 kind of release. There are parts where this is somewhat listenable, so hence this high score of 3.5 out of 10. There are parts where I feel like, yeah, this is actually kind of a beautiful until it's all again destroyed and all. And I cannot say a lot of good things about this album. Purely, morally, more so waste of over 3 hours of my life. Luckily, I was working, and that kind of saved my day. But if I had to just listen to this, sitting on a couch or recliner and just listen to this, writing notes, I would rather just like destroy the CD and explain to the label or whoever sent me this, like, oh, post office probably lost the package and just pretend I never even got it. But having my work ethics, I tried so hard to like this one, at least here and there. But this is all I can say. Unless you have an acquired taste, I really need to emphasize that. Don't go even near this album, it's quite horrible. And especially that battery cover. Oh, kill me. Anyway, there it is. Take a risk or not. Links are provided in the description box. Take care.